data for editing. Let me change the title to edited new note and add some text here like edited text or something and try to save the note. Alright, looks like it worked. We are redirected correctly. Let's find out in the next video. We edited a note in the previous video and tried saving it. Let's verify that we received the edited data first. In the node controller's update method, let's try and dd the request and see what we get. Go to the browser, refresh, continue. And yes, we have received 4 parameters with the edited title and edited text. Note that the method blade directive has this input field which is put. Great. Now, once again, similar to inserting a new note, we need to validate the incoming request. So you can copy the same validation rules from here, paste it here, replace this, paste it. And now this will execute the same way. If our data is valid, then update the note with the new values, which will be title, will be request title, and then the text will be request text. But even before we do this, once again, we need to check if the node model belongs to the logged in user. So copy the same thing here. You can paste it either here or here. Let's paste it there. All right, we abort if the authorized user, if this node doesn't belong to this authorized user. And now once it's updated, we want to redirect the person, the user, to the show route. So we can do that using return to route nodes.show, and we can pass node as the second argument here. And we can do the same in the store method. Remember, we were not redirecting the user. Yes, now we can, after saving the node, we can return the user to this particular route itself. Okay, now let's check if all of this works. Go to the browser, refresh, continue. Great, all the updating has happened and we are looking at the edited note here. The last major functionality pending in our app is the delete option. Right next to edit note, let's give a button to delete it. Open the show blade view, and right here, let's add that button. But this cannot be similar to the link. It needs to be an actual form and have a button. So right here, add a form with action being route nodes.destroy and pass the entire node model. And here once again, the method will be post itself. We will have to, I think I need to close this, yeah. The method will be post and we will have to spoof the method using the method blade directive. And here this will be delete. And now let's use the primary button component, x primary button, and let's say delete button. Let's add some styles to make it look like a danger button. So this would be bg red 600. All right, let's also add the CSRF blade directive, otherwise it will not work. Okay, let's also add a hover class bg red 500 or something. Or maybe the background can be 500 and on hover it can be 600. Also on focus it can be 600. Great, let's see what we got in the browser. Refresh. This looks perfect. Click on the delete button now and it looks like we are redirected to the correct URL. But let's add a confirm dialog to make sure that the user really wants to delete the note before submitting. So go here on the button, add an on click attribute. On click equals return, confirm. Are you sure you want to delete this note? Okay, let's go back and refresh. Let's click on the delete button now, and yes, we are asked for confirmation. Click OK. Our request is submitted. Let's actually delete this note now. Open the note controller. Scroll down to the destroy method. Similar to the update method, verify if the note actually belongs to the user. Copy, paste it here, and if it does belong, let's delete it here using note delete. Great. And then you can return to the index route because the note is deleted. Notes.index. Okay. And let's check this now. Refresh the page. Continue. And perfect, our note was deleted. We don't have any notes right now, so let's quickly create one. New note, some text here, click on save. All right, we saved the note, we redirected, we have been editing notes, deleting, creating, all of that, but we are not giving user feedback if the action was a success or not. In Laravel, this can be done with flashed session data. Let's start with the update action. Once the note has been updated, we redirect the user to the show route. Open the note controller, and right here in the update action, we're redirecting the user to the show route, but the user has no idea if it was a success or not. So here, let's pass a success message with success, something like changes saved. Okay, now in the show blade view, at the top, let's check if we have any session data with success. We can do that using if session success. So if we have any data and if, then we display this message. So you can use a paragraph tag with some styles like, maybe you can first add a margin bottom and then some padding. And let's add a, green background to show that it's a success with a light border green 200, text green 700 or something. And then some slightly rounded corners. And here will be the message, which is session success. Okay. Now let's go back, edit this note and see how this works. Some text here, edited, save note. And this is amazing. We have a flash data called changes saved. Now refresh this page and that is gone, which is exactly what we want. Now let's turn this alert into a component so that we can reuse it without repeating all these styles. So go to resources, views, components, and create a new file called alert success.blade.php. Let's copy all of this, including the if statements, and paste them here. All right. Replace this session success with $slot. And then in the show blade view, let's say X alert success. Let's use the component. And here we pass the session success. Okay. The next place we need an alert is when we delete a note. So go to the note controller, scroll to the destroy method, and here return to route with success message which is note deleted. And now open the index blade view where we need to show the alert. Copy this alert component with the message and go to the index blade view, and probably even before we create the new note, just paste that alert component. And now let's try delete the note and see if this works. We'll probably have to refresh, delete the note, say okay. Oh, we have dollar slot. I think I made a mistake here. And yes, this has to be in curly braces. All right. Unfortunately, we deleted, but I'm sure it works. You can verify by rectifying this mistake of mine. Great. This is perfect. Here's the next challenge. We want the user to be able to organize notes into the newly created notebooks resource. So first, create a new migration to update the notes table with a new column, which is the foreign ID for this notebooks table. The user can choose not to use any notebooks at all, so set this column as nullable. Refer to the documentation to see how it's done. Now, in the existing Notes Create view, add a select input to choose from the list of notebooks created. Based on this selection, modify the store route of the note controller to store the selected notebook ID. Verify if it works using the database GUI client. Next, you also need to add the select input in the edit view to change the notebook of an existing note. You need to then change the update method of the note controller to update this value as well. So in the end, the user should be able to assign a notebook while creating a new note and while editing it too. Let's first create a new migration to add a new column to the notes table using the command php artisan make migration add notebook to notes table. Open the migration file and here add a foreign ID for notebook class, and if this is not imported, import it. It's already imported. Great. And now the user might want to leave this particular row blank, which is why we need to chain this with nullable. Now in the down method, drop the foreign column using table drop if exists, and the column would be notebook ID. Great, let's run this migration. PHP artisan migrate. Right, let's just view this in the GUI client. Go to notes and check at the end. Yes, we do have a notebook ID with all the initial values as null. Now open the create view of notes, create.blade.php. After the text area here, let me just add some spaces. Yeah, after the text area here, we need a select input to show all the notebooks to select from. Select, and here we need to show all the notebooks in these options. For this, we first must fetch all the notebooks and pass it to the create view, right? So open the note controller, create action, and here let's fetch all the notebooks using notebooks, notebook where user ID is the auth ID. Get all of them. And here, pass it with notebooks, $notebooks. And this should have parentheses. Okay. Now in the create view, let's wrap this in for each notebooks as notebook. These option would go inside. Option value would be the notebook ID, whereas here what we display is the notebook's name. Let's also add a blank option so the user can leave it blank. Option value would be blank, but let's just show something like select notebook. And for this, the name would be notebook ID, and the class, let's style it similar to our text input. So open the text input blade component, copy all the styles here. Yeah, copy all of this. And yeah, we could create a select blade component as well, but I'm not doing that in this video. So we've pasted all the styles. Let's add two more styles the way we've added for these here, W full and MT6. W full, MT6, some full width and margin top. All right, let's see what we've got. Go to the browser, refresh, and it says undefined variable notebook somewhere here. Yeah, this second value should be notebook and not notebooks. Let's change that. Now it should be perfect. Refresh. And yes, we have the select input with all the three notebooks that we've created. Let's create a new note, or let's just say hello world. Select a notebook, but for this to work, let me select general. But for this to work, we need to edit the store method first. So go back to the note controller's store method. And here, along with all of these, let's add a new value, which is the notebook ID. It's equal to request notebook ID. Okay, let's test this out now. Save note. Yeah, this is a different error. Ignore this. It should have worked. Let's verify it in the database client. Let's go to the notes. And this was the last note we created, and you can see that it has the notebook ID 3. Great. Now we want the user to be able to change the notebook also while editing the note. So open the edit blade view. Sorry, this is of the profile. Let me close this as well. Open the edit blade view within notes and add the same select input. Copy it from the create view and paste it within the edit view as well. Once again, let me add some spaces. Yes, paste it here. Also from the note controller, we need to pass the notebooks. So copy this and paste it here, or you can paste it here. You'll have to pass the note and the notebooks. Notebooks, $notebooks in the view. So now we are able to iterate through the values and select the notebook. The only change in edit view would be that the user's selected notebook should already be highlighted here. So what we do is option if notebook ID, that is this ID here while we are iterating, if it's same as the notebook ID, that is the one in the note, then set the attribute selected and if. So otherwise it's not selected. Let's see what this looks like. Refresh, edit note, and yes, we have the general value already selected because that's the notebook it belongs to before editing. Let's change this to maybe travel and try saving the note. But before this, we need to modify the update method in the note controller. So down here, just like we did before, add another value, notebook ID, which is equal to request notebook ID. This should work. Let's save note, and it says change is saved. But once again, let's verify in the database client. Go to notes. Earlier this was 3, and now the notebook ID has been changed to 1. Great. This completes our solution. Database tables are often related to one another. For example, a post can have many likes, a student can take many subjects, and in our case, a user can have many notes. When you have too many tables and multiple relations, querying with where clauses like get the notes where belongs to user and so on can get tricky and complex. Eloquent makes it easy to work with such relationships and also supports several types of relationships like one-to-one, one-to-many, one-of many, many-to-many, and custom types too. In our case, the user model has a one-to-many relationship with the note model. With this basic knowledge, let's look at how to define eloquent relationships and then use them to query and save the models. Once we define relationships in model classes, we can access a related model just like its properties. You'll soon understand what I mean. Let's begin with the user model. Open user.php within app models. To define its relationship with the note model, scroll down to the bottom. Add a public method, public function notes, because a user has many notes, and define the relation using this has many and pass the note model here, note class. And we need to return this. So a user has many notes. That's what we're trying to define here. In case of a one-to-one relationship, you need to call the has1 method instead, and you can change this to singular as well. Now, this definition allows us to access notes of a specific user as if notes were a property of this user model. But before we actually do that, let's also define the inverse relationship that lets us access the user of a specific node. So open the note model and here define public function user. Note that this is singular because note belongs to a single user. And here we return this belongs to a user. Use the user class here, and this is the inverse relationship. With this, we can access the user of the node just like any other property of the node model. You will soon see how useful these relationships are. We have now defined our one-to-many relationship in user model and the inverse relationship belongs to in node model. Now it's time to make use of these relationships for querying models. Open Node Controller. Node Controller. In the index method, we use this where clause to get all the nodes of the authenticated user. Now we can simply replace this with auth user nodes like so. And this can be removed, and here you will see an error, but this is actually not an error. It's just the editor that is showing it. IntelliFence is not able to understand this. You can ignore this. Notice how we are able to fetch the nodes that belong to the authenticated user using the relationship. Let's go to the browser and see if this works. And yes, we are able to see the nodes exactly as before. And now, since Laravel version 8, we can also use the inverse relation and replace this with note where belongs to authenticated user, auth user, get the latest, and so on. Now see how similar this is to the where clause. We're just not using where and then checking the user ID. We are simply using the relationship where notes belonging to the user, we're just fetching them. Let's go back and see if this is also working the same way, and it does. All right, we can delete this line right now. Let's see where else we can make use of the relationships defined. In the show method, instead of checking the ID against the foreign key, we can access the notes user model with note user and directly check if this user is the authorized user using is auth user, like so. This is a way to compare the primary key of the same model. So if it's not the same user, then abort. Let's try checking this also. You can refresh and view this. Right, it's working. You can probably create another user, create a note, and try accessing this URL with that, and it will not work. All right, so since this is much neater, let's replace all the other instances with this. Paste it here in the update method and paste it here in the destroy method as well. And now in the store method, instead of manually entering the user ID with the authenticated user's ID, we can create this note using, let me remove this, you can say auth user notes, and you can use the create method and everything else can remain the same. You don't even need note.save. Yes, this can of course be done when this was there also. Now you can remove the user ID and again there is no error. It just works. You can try verifying this and this returns a note, so you can save this so you are able to pass it to the show route. Let's verify if this works by creating a new note. Go to notes, new note, and just create another one, some text here as well. Save note. And yes, this is working exactly the way it did before. So we have made the best use of eloquent relationships to manage our databases related tables. Here's the last challenge. We created a notebook resource in the previous challenge and helped the user organize notes into notebooks. Now, find out the relation between our note resource and the new notebook resource and define the relationship in both the models. Using this relationship, in the show view of a note, display the notebook of this note at the top. It should look something like this. This is a quick one. Good luck. The relation between note and notebook is very similar to that of note and user. It's a many to one relationship. A notebook has many notes and a note belongs to one notebook. So first, let's define the has many relationship in the notebook model. Public function notes. This will be plural because a notebook can have many notes. So return this has many note. Okay, you might have to import the note class, app models note. Yes, close this. Right, now let's define the inverse relationship in the note model, which would be public function notebook. This is singular because it's a single notebook. And you can copy this, return this belongs to notebook class. Okay, you might have to import if it's not imported. Great. Now go to the browser, and here we have already added this note into the travel notebook. Let's save it once again. So what we need is we need to display the notebook name here right at the top. So let's open the show view of notes, and right here after the success message, let's add a span tag. And here these classes are not really important, but let me just add them. px2 py1 some padding, an indigo border, so that would be border indigo 400 or something, and then a very light indigo background, bg indigo 100, then rounded corners, let the font be semi bold, and text SM. So this here, the value, we can get it from the relationship now. We have the note model. So this is the show view of the note model. And now we can get the notebook that it belongs to, just like we are accessing a property notebook. Now that we have the notebook model, we can simply chain it with name. So this notebook belongs to the note, and the notebook's name is what we want to display here. Let's see what we've got. Refresh. Great. It shows the notebook name exactly like we want. This completes the solution. At this point, when you delete a note, it's permanently gone. But ideally, we would want the notes to be moved to trash so that the user can retrieve them later or remove them permanently. Eloquent provides us an easy way to do this. First, we need to add a column deleted at to the notes table. This way, when we delete a record, this column gets updated with a timestamp of when it was deleted. If the column is blank, that means it's not deleted. So close this, open the terminal and create a new migration. PHP artisan make migration. Add soft deletes to notes. All right. This has created a migration. Open the file, and the notes table is pre-filled for us. In the up method, add a column table soft deletes. That's all you need to do. This will add the deleted at column for us. And in the down method, let's just drop soft deletes. Okay, let's run this migration. PHP artisan migrate. Okay, the migration is done. Let's check the table, notes, and right here at the end, we have a new deleted at column with the default value as null. Now, at the same time, in the note model, we need to specify that the note can be soft deleted. So open note model, and very similar to use has factory, this is a trait. We also have a soft deletes trait. So add this right here. So this note model uses the soft deletes trait. Now we are set. Let's try and delete this note. Click on delete, confirm. And yes, it is gone. We also see this note deleted alert message, but let's go to the table and see what has happened. Open the notes table and notice that the note is not completely deleted from the table. We just have this column updated with the timestamp. And now that we are able to move our note to trash, instead of directly deleting it, let's change our button label in the show blade file to, instead of delete note, where is it? Yeah. Let's say move to trash. And also let's change the confirmation model to move to trash question mark. And lastly, let's change the flash message in node controller's destroy method to node move to trash. All right, this should be done. As you can see in the index page, our deleted node doesn't get displayed automatically, which means in our node controller's index method, the latest method or get or paginate or any other methods do not fetch soft deleted records. So how do we get them? We'll see. But first, let's create another controller for trashed nodes. Open terminal, execute php artisan make controller, and I will type in the name directly, trashed node controller. Yeah, it follows the naming convention. Controller is created. Let's open this file. Add an index method here, public function index, which will be used for displaying all the trashed nodes. For now, just return trash. Okay, next let's create the required route for this method in our web.php routes file. Scroll down, route, get, let the URL be trashed, and we will point this to the trashed node controllers index method like so. Now also assign the middleware auth, so only the logged in users can access this route, and also give it a name. Let's follow the same naming convention as all of these nodes. So this would be trashed.index. We didn't have to name these routes manually because we are using the resource controller and routes, so Laravel takes care of the naming. Next, in the browser, let's navigate to the trash route to see if the controller method is being called. So type in trashed, and yes, we see trash that we return in the controller. Alright, before we add the index view to list the deleted nodes, let's edit this navigation bar to add another item here called trash. So open navigation.blade.php, and wherever we are having nodes, I can remove this because we're not using translation. So let's just call this nodes, and yeah, I mean this as well. We can copy this link and paste the same and say trash. This will change to trashed.index, the href, and this as well right here. And down here in the responsive section, once again, let's copy this entire thing, paste it again, and say trash. Once again, change nodes to trashed wherever required. All right, now let's refresh the browser. And yes, we do have trash here. Let's click on it, and we see the index method being called. Now let's fetch the trashed nodes in the controller. Go to trashed node controller. Also open the node controller for reference. We can copy the stuff from here. Copy this and paste it here. Everything remains the same, but we need one change. We need to fetch the trashed nodes and not all nodes, right? So here, before latest, you can change this with only trashed method. So this gets only the trashed models. That's all you need to do. We can reuse the same index page and pass in the same nodes. I need to import this model. So let's import, and this as well. Both the classes are imported. Now let me try, refresh the browser. And great, we do get the trashed node here. We just have to make some changes for the layout though. Like for example, we don't need this button here, and this title should be trash. So open the index blade view. Here, let's use the request method and check which route we are in. So if we are in the notes index route, we'll show this. If we are in the trashed index route, then we show trash. So here, let's use the request method. Request route is notes.index and use the ternary operator. If it's yes, then show notes, otherwise show trash. Let's check if this works. Refresh. And yes, we are able to see trash here. If we navigate to the notes route, we see notes. Great, let's also hide this button in the similar fashion. So here I will say if request, let me copy this. If request route is notes index, then show this. Otherwise, you don't have to say anything. You don't need an else blade directive here. All right, now refresh. Perfect. The title is changed and we don't see a new note button. Navigate to notes and here we see the appropriate title and the new note button. We now have the list of trashed items, but if you click on any of the deleted notes, it takes us to the notes route and we get a 404 error because this note is deleted. What we now need is the show route for trashed note and the show method in the controller. Open web.php and using route get, let's add a show route /trashed/note. We need to pass in the note unique ID and this will call the controller trash note controller show action. Don't show again. And this will also have to go through the auth middleware and the name would be trashed.show. Yes, but this isn't sufficient. We do not get a soft deleted model while using route model binding by default, right? So you need to chain this with trashed method to include soft deleted models right here. Or you can cut this and put it even before the middleware. Yeah, this is perfect. Now open the trashed note controller, add a new show method, public function show, and accept the note model here. Let's dump and die this note to see if it's working. Right, now refresh. We'll have to change this URL. So what we do is let's go back. Let's open the index method. And here we need to change this link based on the route. So let's do the same thing that we did here. Let me just add some line spaces. So here, if the route is notes.index, we anyway show the same thing. Else, we point it to trashed.show. And if. All right. Now let's check in the browser. Refresh. Click on this. And yes, we are pointed. Sorry, looks like I made a mistake here. It's not trashed. It must be in web.php. It's here. Yeah. All right. Let's go back, refresh, and click on this. Yes, we have the correct route now, and we also have the deleted node. Great. Now let's remove the DD and return the view instead. Return view notes.show. We can reuse that route with note. Again, you can pass it as a second parameter here. You can choose whichever method you need. Again, even before we show this, we have to add the same check we used to do in node controller, which is if the node doesn't belong to the user, then abort. So let me copy the same thing, paste it here, and yes. Now let's open the show view. Let's first see what we get. Refresh. Right, the node display is perfect, but we need to change this data here, and also the buttons and the titles. Everything needs to be changed based on the routes. Open the show blade file. So once again here we can do the same check as we do in the index. This one, you can copy this and paste it here. And here you can check if the route is nodes.show, then show nodes, otherwise trash. Or there's one more thing we can do. You can check if the specific node model, since we have the node model available in the show route, you can check if this node is trashed or not using node trashed method. So if the node is trashed, then you need to show trash. So what we'll do is we'll add a not to this. So if node is not trashed, show nodes, else show trash. Let's see if this works first. Yes, we see trash here. If we go to nodes and click on any of these, we see nodes. All right, let's go back to trash and go to the trash node. We can change these two also based on the same check. So let's copy this, and here what I'll do is I'll copy this entire div and paste it again and add them within if and else blocks. So I will say if, oh sorry, I need to copy this. If node is not trashed, then show this. Else, I will change this soon. End if. Okay, let's hide these buttons for now. And here we don't want to know the created at, we just want to know when it was deleted. So what you can do is you can remove this and you can see deleted. Change this to deleted at timestamp. Let's view this in the browser. Refresh. Okay, looks like we have a small error. Yeah, once again, I forgot this. Yeah, let's refresh. Great. This is perfect. Now we can view the individual trash node along with the detail of when it was deleted. After viewing the deleted node, the user might wish to either restore this node or delete it permanently. The two buttons we commented out earlier can be modified to display these two options for each trashed node. Here they are. For editing a node, we used a link, but to restore a node, we need a form and a button just like we did for delete node. So let me uncomment this, remove this, and let me copy this once again, retain this. So I will comment it out again. I will reuse this form for restoring the node. So the action will be trashed dot update, because we just have to change the deleted at column for restoring that node. So trash dot update would be an accurate route. We will be passing the node model. Once again, the method is post and we can spoof it with put. We can retain the CSRF attribute, and here we don't need a red color. So let me remove all of this. We can remove the entire class. We can keep the same black color, and on click, you can either keep this or remove it. You don't have to confirm with the user because this is not a damaging action to do. So you can just say restore node here. All right, now open the trashed node controller and let's create an update method. Public function update Once again, this takes in the node model, and here also we need to do the same check, authorize the user. And here to restore the node, all we need to do is node restore. Use the restore method, and then you can return to route nodes.show, because now this node is restored. You can show this node and probably even add a success session with success saying node restored. We didn't create the route, so open web.php, we can copy the show route, paste it again, and this would be put. This remains the same. Here the action is update. We don't need with trashed. Middleware is fine, and then this would be trashed.update. Okay, now let's refresh. We do have a button, but we need to push it to the right. So I will add class here with ML auto, that is margin left auto, so it goes to the right because it's flexbox. Refresh. All right, let me click on this. We get a 404 not found error. Looks like we need the with trashed. Let's add it back. Yeah, because we're using node model binding. Silly me, I forgot that. Yes, now we should not be getting any error. Continue. And yes, our node is restored. The proof is that you're able to see this in the nodes route. Otherwise, you would get a 404 error. And you're also seeing these two buttons, last changed, created, and so on. We just restored this node, but let's move it to trash once again to delete this permanently. Move to trash, say OK. All right. Now go to trash and open this. Right next to restore node, let's add a button to delete it forever. So let's go back to the show blade view and let me uncomment this. Change the route to trashed.destroy. All of the other things will remain the same. And here you need to confirm if you want to delete this permanently. You can say, are you sure you wish to delete this node forever? This action cannot be undone. Okay. And let me change the text to delete forever. Now let's add this route trashed.destroy in the routes file. Open web.php, and looks like we can copy this, paste it down here. This would be delete, and the route remains the same. The action would be destroy with trashed middleware, and name would be trashed.destroy. Okay, great. But if you notice, a lot of code is repeated here. This can be changed using route grouping. If you notice, we have all these URLs prefixed with trashed, and we are using the same middleware, and the name also is prefixed with trashed dot. So we can use the route prefix method, route prefix, and specify trashed here, because all the URLs are prefixed with trashed, /trashed, and then chain this with the name method, because all of the names begin with trashed dot, and then chain this with the middleware auth, and then comes the group method, where you can specify all the individual routes here. So you can add the first get route here, route get, and now since it's already prefixed with trashed, you can simply add a / and just need to point it to this trash controller index method, And here you need to add a name. We already have trashed dot here, so you just have to have the name index. So do the other three as well. You can say route dot get trashed note, and then this would be show method, and here we also need with trashed. So chain it with trashed, change the name to show, copy this 2 times, and this would be put. This remains the same. The action would be update, name would be update as well, and the last one would be the delete route with the destroy action, and the name would be destroy as well. So I can safely remove all of this. Not this, yeah, remove the 4 routes which we have grouped now. Great. The last thing we need to do now is add the destroy method in the controller. So open trash node controller and scroll down, public function destroy. Once again, pass the node model, and down here you can make the same check. If the user is authorized, this time you can delete the node with force delete, not just delete. We have to force delete it to delete that node permanently. Once that's done, you can return to route trashed dot index because the node is deleted, and with a success message that the node was deleted forever. Node deleted forever. All right, let's just test it now. Go back to the browser, refresh. We have the button, click on it, we get a confirmation. Are you sure you wish to delete this node forever? Say OK. And yes, the node is gone. It was deleted forever. It's not in trash. It's not in notes. And if you go and check in your database client GUI, it will be gone forever. All right, this is huge. All the features of our app are now complete. So this finishes our Light Notes project. Now, you might want to start using Laravel locally in your system. To install Laravel on your system, you first need a local web server like Apache or Nginx. And then you need to install PHP, Composer, and a database server like MySQL, and then configure all of them to work together. That's a tedious process where you might run into multiple issues. But thankfully, these days, there are a variety of tools available that help us get started with Laravel within just a few minutes. If you go to laravel.com, visit the documentation, and go to creating a Laravel project, you'll see that the official documentation recommends using Laravel Herd. Herd is available on macOS and Windows. If you're a Linux user, I'll tell you what to do in a while. I see download for Mac OS button here. If you're using Windows, you might see download for Windows. Otherwise, you can go to this page with the Windows icon and you can download Herd for Windows. Install it just like any other application and you'll see a welcome screen and you can proceed with all the default options selected. Since I already have, congratulations! You have built a fully functional Simple Notes app using Laravel 11. Let's quickly run through all that we learned and created. First, we used Laravel Breeze for authentication. The authentication routes and views, all of them got created for us. Then we created our first model and used migrations. We created a resource controller for managing all the CRUD operations on our resource. We used Blade templates for our views and created some Blade components. We learned about multiple Blade directives. We learned how to reuse components as well as entire views based on different routes. We used route model binding for injecting an entire model directly into the route and also learned how to customize this route key to use for resolving the model. We then used eloquent relationships to better manage the relations between database tables while querying and saving the models. We then enabled soft deletes on our model to allow for temporary deletion. We also learned how to query soft deleted models, restore them, and also permanently destroy them. Along the way, we saw some naming conventions, best practices, and more. I hope all this learning through hands on project has set a strong foundation for you to dive deeper and build awesome stuff. Now that you know enough concepts in Laravel to build a simple yet functional app, it's time to go deeper. You can try adding some more features to your Light Notes project. 1. Help your user add some tags or keywords to each of their notes so they can look for them easily. 2. You could add a feature to optionally make a note public just in case the user wishes to share it with others. 3. Add a search feature to be able to search for text within the notes, and so on. While building these functionalities, you will surely have a lot of questions, and it's best to refer to the official documentation when in doubt. The official Laravel channel on YouTube also has some great videos. To go deeper into Laravel, you can watch my advanced Laravel course right here on LinkedIn Learning. You can also refer to the Laracast's forum where a lot of questions have already been asked and answered. Lastly, Laracon, the official Laravel conferences that happen in 4 different continents, is a good place to network with the amazing Laravel community and learn about the latest Laravel news. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter or the X app at Shruti Balasa and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Thyrus. Wishing you the best for your career in Laravel.